Hola, estudiantes. Today you're going to learn your second piece of grammar for Lesson 4. Lesson 4.2 covers stem changing verbs. You may recall the stem portion of a verb is the first part that doesn't include the AR or ER verb ending. So, for example, in this verb, empezar, the stem is between the E and the Z. So stem changing verbs are different from the normal pattern of regular verbs you've learned up until now. The spelling changes in the stem and in the conjugations. For example, here's the infinitive empezar, which means to begin, and volver, which means to return. So the stem is right here. The stem change occurs when you conjugate the verb in all but the nosotros and vosotros form. And as you know, we're just focusing on the nosotros form, not the vosotros this year. So the conjugated form of I begin is empiezo. So the stem changed from an E, as it was in the infinitive form, to an IE. So as the heading suggests up here, you're going to study some verbs that begin with a simple E vowel, but then when conjugated in the yo, tú, él, ella, usted, not nosotros, but ellos and ellas, ustedes form, it's going to change to IE. And then we'll also cover verbs that begin with an O in their stem, and then they change to UE, like jugar. You've heard us say juego before. There are other verbs that have stem changes other than the E to IE and the O to UE, and we will cover those next, but for now we're going to learn these simple ones. And just to reiterate, the nosotros form does not have a stem change. Let's first take an E to IE stem change, for example, and you can see in its full conjugation format right here. What you will notice is that with empezar or any of the verb endings, that ending does not change. You learned in the past that AR verb endings are o, as, a, amos, and an, and that stays the same. So it's conjugated at the ending form, o, as, a, amos, an, the exact same as it does with an AR verb, but it's the stem that's changing, and that's what's new to you in this lesson. So, yo empiezo, tú empiezas, ustedes, él, ella empieza, nosotros, nosotras empezamos, ustedes, ellos, ellas empiezan. Okay, so in many other verbs such as volver, the stem changes from O to UE. You've covered the E to IE so far, and now let's move on to O to UE. So for example, we have the verb volver, which means to return. The ER ending is going to stay the same as it does when you conjugate other ER verbs. O, es, hemos, en. So to return, I return, yo vuelvo, you return, tú vuelves. He or she or you formal returns, vuelve, volvemos. You'll see again that it does not change in the nosotros form. Ustedes, ellos, ellas vuelven. So those verb endings are the same as ER verbs, it's just these stems that are changing from O to UE. And to help you remember these stem changing verbs, you will forevermore hear them referred to as boot verbs. So in this lesson 4.2, you're going to learn the common stem changing verbs. So the E to IE and the O to UE. There are 16 new verbs that you will remember. Cerrar, comenzar, empezar, and when these are similar to the other verbs that always have an a plus infinitive afterward because you're always going to begin to do something. So these verbs will need to be followed by an infinitive because you will begin to eat, you will begin to run, you will begin to sing, and please note comenzar and empezar mean the same thing, but they are both interchangeably commonly used. Moving on. Entender, pensar, perder, preferir, very commonly used, querer, very commonly used. And then some O to UE, common stem changing verbs. Almorzar, contar, dormir, encontrar, mostrar, poder plus infinitive, because you will be able to do something else. There's always going to be a verb that follows that in its infinitive, unconjugated form. Recordar and volver. So something a little bit different in the Spanish language when you're talking about playing a sport or a game. Jugar is the only Spanish verb that has a U to UE stem change. So that's a little bit different. We've talked about the O to UE stem change and the E to IE stem change. But this commonly used verb has a U to UE. So jugar is followed by an a plus a definite article when the name of a sport or game is mentioned. So that's something different than what we do in English. We say, I play tennis, I play volleyball, I play soccer. You have to, in Spanish, say, I play the tennis, I play the golf, I play the soccer, I play the volleyball. Por ejemplo, ella juega al tenis y al golf. So, as you note, the a plus definite article, in these instances, it's a masculine, so the a plus l has to be formed into al. Al tenis, al golf. If it were a sport that started with the feminine, it would just be a la. Another rule you're going to have to note is comenzar and empezar are a little familiar to the ear you just learned because they require preposition a to be followed by them when they have an infinitive. For example, comienzan a jugar a las 7. They begin playing at 7. Ana empieza a escribir. So it's just like in the ear form where it has that a, which exactly translated to English would be a duplicate of they begin to play. So it's just something that is unique to the Spanish language. And then pensar plus infinitive means to plan or to intend to do something. So pensar en means to think about someone or something. So it takes on a completely different meaning. Pensar plus an infinitive verb means you intend to take an action. Pensar en means you think of somebody. So, if you plan to go to the gym, you'd say, piensan ir al gimnasio. And then if you wanted to ask someone what they're thinking about, en qué piensas. So, en is used when you want to think about somebody, and then an infinitive verb is used when you want to plan or intend to do something. And that's it.